Create water is an absurd spell. Welcome to my channel. I focus on tabletop role-playing games, video games, and science fiction. On page 33 of Men and Magic, which is in the original Dungeons and Dragons, we have the Create Water spell. By means of this spell, the cleric can create a supply of drinkable water sufficient for a party of 12 men and horses for 1 day. The quantity doubles for every level above 8th level the cleric has attained. In original Dungeons and Dragons, Create Water is a 4th level spell. That means you don't get the spell until you're a 6th level cleric. Then if you cast that spell, that is the only spell of that level you can cast that day. So it's fairly rare. You have to be a 6th level character before you can use Create Water. Now, with the introduction of Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, now called 1st edition, on page 43 of the Player's Handbook, we have Create Water, which is a 1st level spell. This is when the spell became absurd, because it removes, in essence, any cleric can cast Create Water. You have a cleric, so water is no longer a scarce resource or something that you have to manage at all or worry about at all or so on. One of the fun things about original Dungeons and Dragons was, how do you survive in a dungeon? Today, in 1st and 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th edition, the party wanders into the dungeon and they need to take a long rest because they've run out of spells and they need to recharge. And so they take a long rest and then they're fully recharged. But there's no comment about, oh, well, you need to drink something or eat something because, oh, well, the cleric did a Create Water or create food and water, and we don't have to worry about any of that. Which takes a lot of the fun away from the dungeon masters, because you used to put water in your dungeon. Now, let's be honest. In a real ecology, water is important. So if you've got monsters in a dungeon you're attempting to have something resembling a real ecology, you need water for those creatures to survive on. Unless there's some weird psychic creature, yes, you can run some of those. But if they're your average creature, they're going to need water of some sort to survive on. So you've got to have water. So you needed to put fountains and sources of water inside your dungeon. And the idea was that the party, if they went down there and they stayed any length of time, they would run out of water that they brought, which made it interesting, which made the Purify Food and Water an important spell, because that was a 1st level spell. It assumed you got water from the local area and you would bless or purify the water. So that became important, but that was different. You lived off the land. And you got into this interesting question: if the fountain produced occasionally magical potions, that your party would have to do this. So it took a lot away from. That's why I say the Create Water, dropping it from a 4th level spell that could only be cast by a 6th level character to a 1st level spell, makes it absurd, because it makes it so mundane that any character, any cleric can do the Create Water, and you don't have to worry about water anywhere where you go. It means that there is no challenge crossing a desert, because you just need a drop of water to create more water, and a 1st level cleric can do that. So that there is no such thing as deserts or anything where water is important, because you can always create water. That's why I think it's a rather absurd spell. Do you agree with me or disagree with me? That to create water and create food and water, which is its companion, which is generally a little bit higher level, but it's still, they changed it from the original Dungeons and Dragons, where it was a 4th level spell castable only by 6th level characters. Yes, I know that gets, unless you're familiar with the way the charts work in original Dungeons and Dragons, that was one of the things that they tried to straighten out. The levels, yeah, a first level character, a first level cleric had no spells at all. That's right, had no spells. You had to be 2nd level cleric before you could cast a 1st level spell, and you got 1 per day. And so you could, if you had to be 6th level before you could do this once a day. And if you did that, the other spell at that level is Cure Serious Wounds. Which would the party want more frequently? Cure Serious Wounds or Create Water? Well, it depends upon the adventure, but more likely it was Cure Serious Wounds. But it's sort of moot today with the spell being down at 1st level, and so I say it's absurd. Tell me what you think. Have you played where water was ever important? Do you want to play where water is important? Have you done a house rule where you've changed the level of Create Water? I think I'm going to be changing the level of Create Water so that it makes life much more interesting. It means that players have to think about water. Purify water as food and water becomes more important because you want to be able to get water and purify it as opposed to just create it. So thank you for watching my video. I look forward to your comments. I look forward to learning what you think about this video. Let me know in the comments below. I appreciate all your comments. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like the video, give me a thumbs down. I appreciate both forms of feedback. If you're new here and would like to subscribe, you can click on the icon on the left. If you're interested, there's more content on the right.